For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in today. All right, online reviews. I'm not just talking about people going on a rant on their Facebook page. I'm talking like Google reviews, things like that. Do you do it? I've just discovered it. And also, have you ever wondered what happens with people after a reality show, right? American Idol, Shark Tank. We're going to check in 5 years later after we talk to a Shark Tank pitcher on the show this week. It starts right now.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, the email address, if you ever want to be in touch, is live@jbonair.com. Live@jbonair.com. I really do. I like hearing from people. I'm not big into social media, as I've mentioned many times on the show, but I do like, I was going to say an old-fashioned email. I guess, is it old-fashioned now? I don't know. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. But I am getting, I'm keeping up with the times, because I have discovered, and when I say discovered, I just sort of mean spent some time with it, online reviews. Now, I didn't realize that there are people who basically will review anything and everything, okay? And there was a business. I'm not gonna mention the industry or if it's a national chain, local chain, whatever. Bottom line is there was a business that I had considered frequenting. There we go, giving my patronage, and I wasn't sure. And so what I did was I had Googled it, because it's an industry that is delicate, and so you kind of, if you don't know anybody who's had to dive into it, you want to just sort of do your research. And so when I was Googling, it sort of came, some of the matches were about reviews of the establishment. And like I said, I really haven't, I just sort of use my judgment when it comes to things. I'll go to a company's website and see, if there's typos and everything everywhere. To me as a writer, it sort of makes me question it. My rule is if I look at a restaurant's menu and they've got ingredients spelled wrong, if they don't know how to spell them, do they know how to work with them? Do they know how to cook with them? Again, that's just some sort of snobbery that I picked up a long time ago, but it's stuck with me. It's stuck with me. Typos on a restaurant menu jump out at me when it comes to, the food. And I'm not talking local variations of spellings or anything like that. I'm talking like actual typo. Anyway, so I eventually now click over to a bunch of different reviews on things. And it's fascinating to see how people can have wildly different experiences, but also incredibly similar experiences. And so then you're kind of in the middle of the road at that point, where you sort of weigh it out and go, okay, well, 3/4 of the people had a good experience, but that 1/4 of them, and it could be anything, right? I mean, we're talking, what was it like, that hotel stay or the food at the restaurant or whatever, right? There, you can review anything, basically. And so let's take that example of a restaurant. And just so we're clear, what I was Googling is not a restaurant. Just so we're clear, I'm not disguising it. It wasn't a restaurant. It wasn't anything. It wasn't food related. But think about that, right? Because your situation at the restaurant could be specifically about maybe your server, right? Maybe the server had a bad day and made the experience bad. Maybe the food was really bad. Maybe it was busy and that annoyed you, right? Like there's just so many factors But the average reader who's going to it and looking probably isn't taking those kinds of things into consideration because you might not be getting those details, right? You're going to just get the rant that this was the shittiest place I've ever gone to and the blah, 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 blah. And then because you're already aggravated and irritated, you're going to maybe inflate some of the details, right? And you would inflame it, I guess, your rage. And so I don't know how much merit I put in things like that. Same thing with Amazon. You go to a product page and then you read, some people loved it, some people hated it. How did it work perfectly for some? Was it just a defective unit that the person bought? Who knows? And it was fascinating to see because now, and again, if you spend time on the internet and Google, you probably already know this, so it's not like hey, have you heard of that Google thing? That's not where I'm going. I'm just saying that I spent some time perusing reviews. And it was really interesting because people had a pattern of talking about the experience and the customer service side of things. Now, again, this is, I would say this is an industry where customer service maybe is about 25% of your overall concern is what I'm referring to. But I guess 25% for a lot of these people was a big deal. So maybe it to them was 50 or 75%. I always wonder if it's coincidental or what when you have 50, 60, 70 reviews and there's some sort of mention about the miserable staff or, that the guy was a dick or the owner was you kind of are like, oh, all right, well, fine. Well, while I'm reading these Google reviews, I see that the owner of the establishment can reply. And, not, so it's not just one-sided. The owner can reply. Like I said, I had never really spent much time looking at this, so I didn't realize that. It's only fair that they be able to. If you're going to be thrashing my restaurant or whatever it is, I should have the ability to reply. And so I decided to look around on different, and not everybody does that. And again, I don't know. I own a company, but we're not necessarily dealing with the public on things like that. So you wouldn't really review my radio shows or my book like that. You would review the book on Amazon, but you wouldn't review like our service because we don't provide a customer service to people. We entertain and delight listeners around the world, of course we do, but you know what I'm getting at. And so not every, I wouldn't even know. Maybe we are reviewed on Google for something. I'm not sure. But I don't know. The majority of places probably don't have. But if you're a small business, those reviews can really make or break your business, I think, right? That reputation that you have, you need to stick up for yourself. Or you might feel the need to stick up for yourself. And so I was fascinated to see that the owner of this establishment was replying generally within 24 hours of people posting. But he is replying in a way that actually illustrates the complaints about his business. And so what I mean by that is, I already gave the example of the miserable staff, or, the receptionist was a bitch, or the owner was a dick, or, whatever. Well, sure as shit, I'm swearing a lot in this segment already. See, I'm getting worked up, but I'm still keeping a level head about myself. Sure enough, it says reply from owner or whatever it says. Sure enough, this guy is replying in a way that's kind of like, okay, wait a second, I'm sorry. So the customer is saying that I had a terrible experience here, the guy was rude, the front desk was rude, blah, 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 blah. And now here comes the guy publicly telling you off, essentially. And so I'm sitting here going, okay, this is so, but does this guy not understand how PR works? Like, does this guy not realize that these people are rating his service as a 1? And he's not doing himself any favors by coming on now and telling them off in public. I thought this is crazy. This is ridiculous. Like, it's so strange. And he would come back and say something like, thanks for dragging my business online. Karma comes around, or karma will get you, or something like that. And I'm sitting here going, this person was making valid points. Now, arguably, let me just say that, yes, some people in their reviews or their posts were not as delicate or professional or PC or, whatever. I get that. But this is that thing where, there's the saying the customer's always right. Now we're in this realm where the customer is not right and the owner will beat the hell out of you to prove that you are not right? I'm not going to put up with your shit. Right? Back in the day when I worked customer service, you were apologetic, even if you did screw up, even if it was your, here I'm going to swear again, even if it was your fuck up, you still bit the bullet and you apologized, and you would never come, or even if it was not my fault at all, it had nothing to do with me, you apologized. But now we're in that world where it's like, oh, you're not going to tell me off, I'm going to tell you off, bitch. And then again, you read things like that where it's like, oh, they hung up on me, oh, they did this, oh, they did that, and I'm sitting here going, wow. And so I kind of thought, I actually want to now go to this business and experience the service, because it just kind of seems like, hey, this could be a roller coaster and quite entertaining for me. That's how full my life is, everybody. But I did. So I was kind of like, you know what? All right, I'm going to go. I'm going to see if I experience the same thing, right? And sure enough, what I read about the people who greet you when you get there, no smile, you feel like you're inconvenienced. I meet the owner of the place, and, I go and, okay. And did I get the warm tinglies? Did this happen? Whatever. And wouldn't you know it, now, again, you could go into it because I'm already tainted, right? You could say that I've already got this biased opinion because of what I've read or whatever. But no, I went into it with an open mind. Why would I go and knowingly spend my money, right? I mean, I saw I was able to acknowledge and identify what the people were saying, okay? Was it a nightmare visit? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But again, I had kind of see that, all right, there is some legitimacy to these claims that these people are talking about and what they went through. And I thought about it, and I was like, should I do a review just to see if he will fire back at me? And so, because I'm a writer, I crafted a review. No, like I said, I didn't leave there pissed off. I didn't, and I wasn't out there to just start a war. I wasn't there to have like a Twitter fight with somebody. That's not, I just felt like I'm going to try this review and see what it does. So I had to create a Google account because I'm not on the Google. So I made an account. I just put initials. I didn't put my name. I didn't identify myself. And I did several paragraphs, and like I said, I gave the pluses and the minuses. I said, I was open-minded to going, but I can see that, when the owner goes and tells off people on here, I understand what they're going through. And then at the end of the review, I said something to the effect of, and now I await the owner's, public thrashing of this review, or waiting for the owner to tell me off based on my experience. But I kind of gave a bit of a lesson at the end where I said, absolutely customers are entitled to their opinion, but you have to remember that they are the customer. And you have to earn our trust, not the other way around. We do not have to earn your trust. You have to earn our trust as the customer. You're absolutely entitled to your opinion. But in customer service, and I said, this is PR, and this is your business, and this is your reputation on the line. We have nothing to lose from, being honest and what have you, right? But there's something to think about. And sure enough, and I'm not kidding you, in less than 24 hours, I would say it was maybe 10 hours later, I got a reply. It was a very, very lengthy reply. He wasn't attacking me. There was nothing rude or anything like that. But he came at me in a sense of almost point for point what I had documented or relayed. He kind of came back point for point, either, justifying, acknowledging, what have you. So I appreciated that. Now, again, it is sort of weird, though, that we can't have that communication with the person there in that moment, that we do it through a computer or phone, or through the internet is basically how we're doing it. Isn't that strange? You don't have that conversation. You don't have that professional kind of sit down with the business owner or operator there. You go back where it's safe from your home. You can have your say. And so I did see he did go back and forth. So when he would reply to somebody with a nasty response, they would fire back, he would fire back. So again, and I just kind of, but I was waiting to see. I'm like, should I go back again though? Because he's going to know that it was me, because, I did point out specifics that happened when I was there. So he could easily make those connections. But so I did go back, and I thought, it'll be interesting to see if he mentions this, right? Because I saw very, very little professionalism in the way he addressed people on the internet. So it'd be interesting to see if he would confront me when I went back, or if it was, or would he just sort of pretend it didn't happen? Or would he actually crank up the niceness? Would he then, try to change the tone and make things right? I was very interested to see. And quite honestly, yes, he didn't bring it up. He didn't mention it. He was, pleasant. He was different. The person at the front desk, though, was not. Quite honestly, when she sort of came around the corner, she just sort of had this is it resting bitch face, I guess you'd call it? Yeah, and I don't know, maybe that's just the type of person she is. So it's kind of weird. You can tell that she's attempting to have the nice, pleasant, welcoming tone, but it comes across as just so disingenuous. Like, just, I don't believe that you're happy. Like, you're saying the words, oh, welcome, thanks, oh, hi, nice to see you, have a great day. I don't buy it, though. So, and again, maybe that's just, she's an older woman. Maybe she's just a miserable bitch at that age. Anyway, tell me what you think about this whole online reviewing thing. Do you post reviews online? Do you put much merit in what people have to say, or do you just think sometimes they're bitter customers, or they're looking for something free, or they just have nothing better to do than bitch online? Share your thoughts live at jbonair.com.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Everyone always wonders what happens to those people who appear on Shark Tank, right? Whether they got a deal, they didn't get a deal, they got a deal but it fell through, you never know, right? And I can't believe it's been 5 years since we first checked in with one of the pitchers from the hit ABC show, and let's do it now. It's our reunion. Alex from Budsies and Petsies joining us on the line. Hi, Alex.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, happy anniversary to you. 5 years since we've been on the air together.
Thank you. I can't believe it's been 5 years. It's incredible.
Now, when you were, and I'm fairly certain people don't remember the last time that we chatted, but let's start again to retell the story about how Budsies came to be. What was your pitch on Shark Tank?
Sure. So, Budsies is where people send us their kid drawings, and we bring them to life, the real stuffed animals. And this came to be because I have a little sister, Michelle, who's amazing, and she's a great artist and loves to doodle. She'd make all sorts of characters, and she also loves playing make-believe with stuffed animals. And so I figured, why can't she play with stuffed animals that are her own creation? And so she had this, red pig-looking thing with, an antenna on his head that she named Dongler. And I made Dongler for her, and she loved Dongler. And then from there, we just kept making more and more and more and more. And Dongler now is a mascot on our Budsies site. He has a book and an activity kit and everything.
So basically what it is, and I remember the pitch obviously because we've talked before, but yeah, anything, you can draw something, send it to Budsies, and then poof, it's now an actual object, basically.
That's right. We figured out how to make one-off custom plush at scale, and it started off with kids' drawings, but actually over time, and this is great for the update, we've grown into so many more categories. So actually a lot of our plushies now are made by adults and teenagers, and we have a whole line called Specialty Commissions that's really for advanced artists. We've also gotten into selfies where people send us pictures of their loved ones, and that's gotten big actually in military circles or in cases where people are far apart, which actually happened during COVID, where a lot of families were separated. And so this allows a child to hug their parent who's far away. Mm-hmm. And then we got into Petsies, which you and I worked on 5 years ago, and that's actually grown into its own separate brand. So people send us a picture of their dog, their cat, their horse, their rat. We've done all kinds of animals, and we create a stuffed animal look-alike of their pet. It's completely uncanny. And then, actually, we have a whole, a third brand. There's Budsies, Petsies, and last year we launched Stuffed Animal Pros, which focuses on businesses and brands. So we've worked with Harvard, Facebook, all sorts of brands out there who want to make anywhere from 50 to 5,000 pieces of plush of their mascots, their logos, whatever it is.
And I should tell everybody that you guys did make to Petsies, because we have that my dogs in their little tuxedos, and you guys made them. So we have like lookalikes. It's like I have 4 dogs now. And yes, by the way, we actually still use those Petsies in photo ops when we do the dog birthdays and things like that. So we still have some of those pictures on our website. But let's talk about the 5 years then. So obviously you've had some great expansion. You've branched out into other brands. What did you learn from doing that? Because there's one thing to learn from your mistakes when you're just starting out, but when you're growing and expanding, obviously there's even more decisions to make. So what were some of the hurdles and some of the successes that you had?
So I think the biggest lesson learned has been to let the customers drive the innovation, right? So we have a really good closed loop between the team that runs product and the team that speaks to customers. And so, we launched the Petsies brand, for example, because we had customers asking us to make custom stuffed animals of their pets. And so the advice that I would give to, I guess, other founders who are in that scaling phase is to not assume that you're some genius that can predict the future. Just be very attuned to the customers and what they want. And I think for us, it came very naturally because, like, from the beginning, our connection as the customer is very strong and tight. So because every order is custom, our team looks at and evaluates every single product, and often we speak back and forth with most of our customers about their designs, right? So because we're so attuned to each order and each customer request, that's helped us to innovate and launch these new products, which I think works better than just kind of sticking your finger in the air and hoping that you can predict the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's incredible because it's not like you're just going onto Amazon and, okay, I'm ordering a stuffed dog, right? Or getting one of those custom-made, pillowcases or something with somebody's picture on it. I mean, nobody else is going to have this of your dog or your child or your dad or whatever it is.
That's right. It's a much more personal and emotional product, and we've definitely leaned into that as well. In fact, we just launched our annual Bud These Pals program, which is just my favorite thing of the year, which is where we can work with kids who are perhaps stuck in long-term care and hospitals and just going through the hardest struggles of their lives. And I'm proud that this year we're able to do that here even during COVID, when a lot of the hospitals have restricted visitation and all that jazz. And so we've been able to affect that kind of meaningful emotion to these kids, and like that wholesomeness resonates throughout our brand. And as you said, like the fact that each item is so unique creates a story behind each item, right? So each of our customers places so much emotional value in their product, and for us, it's like an honor being able to bring that idea, that creation, that emotion to life as a huggable plush.
And I can tell everybody this is a testimonial, and Alex, this is a good thing, so don't be insulted. But I can confirm that Petsies are slobber-proof. That's all. I'm just going to say that they can withstand golden retriever slobber. And no, Alex, this is a good thing. I'm not mocking your product. I'm saying this is a good thing. Is that you can slobber the hell out of your you can get soaking wet. And it's still, and the dog will still love it. So there you are. Congratulations on that, Alex. I appreciate it. So,
thank you very much. We definitely don't condone using it as a pet toy, but I will definitely take the compliment. I appreciate all your kind words.
Some dogs, like a golden retriever, just appreciate having a stuffed animal in their mouth as sort of like a comfort toy, and so it works. So I can tell you that. One of the things I want to ask, and you don't have to answer, but being that you were on Shark Tank and everybody always kind of talks dollars and cents, can you talk about like sales? Can you give us a number or no?
So we don't talk about sales publicly, but I think we're inching towards that 100,000 piece milestone at this point, which is incredible. So, it's one thing to make one custom plush, or even a couple thousand, but at this point, we've made tens of thousands of unique handmade custom stuffed animals, and that's just like again, each one has a story, and that's a lot of warmth that our team has spread worldwide. I think we've shipped now to over 65 countries. It's just truly incredible. It's like, I don't know, it's humbling to me, and we have these meetings, all hands meetings, every month with our team, and all will just go through this impact that we have on the world, and it's really cool. Like that's what makes us really proud of what we do.
Yeah, and sometimes you're right. It's not about the dollars you make. It's about the lives that you change or the lives that you impact, right? I mean, that's kind of... You want to hope that people are getting into business with, maybe 50% of that being their focus, but, that's not always the case. But certainly you guys you're making an emotional connection, especially for your customers.
That's right. That's so core to our DNA, and that will never change.
Good to hear. So I know we've been teasing everybody about all the different product lines. What are the websites and social media that people can check out to do some shopping?
Sure. Thanks for asking. So budsies.com, budsies.com is the main site. mypetsies.com, mypetsies.com is the Petsies brand. Definitely follow on Instagram, both Budsies and Petsies. We have some really cool products coming out ahead of the holidays. We just recently launched really cute pet socks, which are amazing. We have buddy pillows and pet pillows and photo pillows, and so there's all sorts of things launching and more launching between now and holidays. So Instagram Budsies, Instagram Petsies, like really cute content and lots of wholesome stories.
I have to find out if Alex still has my shipping address. Alex, do you still have it?
I'm sure I can find it. Don't you worry.
We have to wrap this up, but going back to Shark Tank for just a brief, like we've got about a minute and 45. Do you still watch the show?
I've seen a few episodes. I think the show is just like a really great insight into how kind of the give and take happens between founders and investors, and it's like I enjoy watching the show now that I'm not nervous about appearing on it.
So I've got to ask you: is there a piece of advice or a mistake that you see people make on the show? Anything that somebody who's about to go on the show, what would you tell them?
Before going on the show, you need to make spreadsheets and lists of all of your numbers, all of your fundamentals, right? Obviously, the big ones like sales and profits, but even things like growth over time, cost of customer acquisition, lifetime value of customers. Like, these fundamentals are what drive investors, and those are what investors are looking for. And I see too many people still, to this day, come on the show and not really have a good sense of their fundamental values. I wish that there was almost like a coaching program offered before getting people on the show, so that the founders could have all their numbers all lined up and down packed. That would make their case so much better. I'll also say that as daunting as the show is, and appearing on TV is always daunting, the show does the producers do a really, really good job of making the show founder friendly in the sense that the stage, the setting is done so that all the cameras are hidden. There's no producer talking in your ear, and the overall experience is very founder friendly. So if someone is on the fence about going or not going, I always say, do it, go for it. It's a win-win.
All right. Okay, gotta go. But quickly, one more time, those website addresses.
Sure, budsies.com, mypetsies.com, and make sure to follow Budsies and Petsies on Instagram for some really wholesome stories.
Awesome. Alex, thanks so much for joining us, and again, congrats on your success.
Thank you very much again.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
We're out of time on The Scribble. Talk to you next week. Bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.